My beloved child, I have called you by name, and in this very second, I am whispering directly into the depths of your soul. Do not turn away, for this is not a coincidence or a random occurrence of an algorithm. You did not find this message. I, the creator of the heavens and the earth, have caused this message to find you at the precise moment your spirit was about to break. I have seen your silent tears. I have heard the heavy sighs you release when you think no one is watching. And I have felt the weariness that has settled into your bones. Even if you are feeling abandoned, even if you are drowning in debt, even if you are surrounded by enemies who seek your downfalls, I am here. I am the voice that calms the storm, and I am telling you now, stop and listen. Before I reveal the blessing coming to you, declare your presence. Type, "I am here, Lord," or 7007 in the comments right now, to open the gates of heaven and let my peace flow into your home. This is your divine appointment, and your response is the first step of your breakthrough. The year 2026 is not merely a date on a calendar or a passage of time. It is a divine portal, a new vibrational frequency that I have prepared specifically for those who have endured the fire. You are entering a season where the rules of the past no longer apply, and the limitations that bound you in previous years are being shattered by my hand. I am opening a door that no man can shut, and I am inviting you to step into a reality where my glory will be made manifest in every area of your life. As you sit here in my presence, you may feel a strange sensation, a mixture of overwhelming joy and cleansing tears, as my light begins to penetrate the walls you have built around your heart. This is the sign that your spirit recognizes its creator. I am shifting the atmosphere around you right now, transitioning you from the exhaustion of the old into the vitality of the new. Join this family of believers and press the like button to signal your agreement with heaven, and subscribe to this sanctuary to ensure you do not miss a single step of the 365-day journey I have mapped out for your destiny. I see the questions burning in your mind. You are wondering why the path has been so narrow, why the losses were so heavy, and why the silence from my throne seemed so deafening in the year that has passed. I am about to reveal a secret to you, a mystery that links everything you have lost directly to the glory that is coming in 2026. Nothing was wasted. Every tear was a seed, every betrayal was a filter, and every closed door was a divine protection from a path that would have destroyed your purpose. I allowed the shaking so that only what is unshakable would remain within you. I am preparing to restore to you sevenfold what the enemy tried to steal. But I am not just giving you back what you lost. I am giving you a version of it that is infused with my eternal power. The struggles you are facing this very day are the final labor pains before the birth of a miracle that will leave you breathless. You have felt like you were falling behind, watching others move forward while you remained stagnant in the shadows. But I tell you, you were not behind. You were being built. You were not breaking. You were becoming the vessel that can hold the weight of the 2026 blessing. A small vessel cannot contain a massive downpour, so I had to expand your capacity through the trials you endured. The pain was the stretching of your soul to accommodate the abundance I am pouring out. I am about to show you how the very thing that broke your heart will become the foundation of your greatest victory. There is a specific link between the financial struggle you are currently facing and a massive provision that is already in motion. I am not a God of lack, and I have not forgotten my promises to you. Stay with me for the revelation I am about to share regarding your past and your future will change the way you see yourself forever. The light of 2026 is already dawning on your horizon, and it is brighter than anything you have ever imagined. My precious child, I have been watching you closely, and I see a change in you that you might not have even recognized yourself. Look back at who you were 3 years ago, or even just 1 year ago. Do you remember how every setback felt like the end of the world? Do you remember the frantic pacing, the paralyzing panic, and the way your heart would race at the slightest hint of trouble? Back then, every wind was a hurricane, and every dark cloud was a sign of total destruction. But look at you now. The same trials are knocking at your door. The same whispers of lack and loneliness are trying to find a home in your mind, yet you are standing. You are still here. You have reached a level of spiritual maturity where what used to be a devastating storm has now become merely rain. It might be dampening your clothes, it might be making the path slippery, but it is no longer blowing you off your feet. This is the evidence that I have been strengthening your inner man, building a foundation within you that is deeper than any temporary crisis. I saw you in those quiet moments when the weight of the world felt like it was crushing your chest. I saw you when you had every reason to give up, to throw in your towel, and to walk away from everything you believed in. I saw the night you sat on the edge of your bed, head in your hands, wondering if you could survive another day of being misunderstood and undervalued. And yet in the morning, you stood up. You washed your face, you put on your strength, and you went out to face the world again. That, my beloved, is not just human willpower. That is my grace sustaining you. You are discovering that strength is not the absence of wounds, but the ability to keep walking even while you are healing. You have learned to find peace in the middle of the fire because you have finally realized that the fourth man is walking in that fire with you. You are no longer reacting to the shadows. You are responding to my light. Now, my chosen one, I want you to do something very specific right now to activate the healing I am pouring into you. Stop whatever you are doing, even for just a few seconds. Close your eyes and take a deep, slow breath. Inhale my peace and exhale the bitterness that has been trying to take root in your spirit. As you breathe, visualize a pure, brilliant white light descending from my throne, entering through the crown of your head and flowing down into your chest. Feel this light warming the places where you have felt cold and neglected. Feel it dissolving the knots of anxiety in your stomach and the tension in your shoulders. This light is my presence, and it is washing away the residue of every battle you have fought in secret. I am mending the microscopic cracks in your heart that no one else can see. You are being renewed from the inside out, not because the world has become easier, but because you have become stronger. You have passed the test of endurance, and you are beginning to realize that I am not just a God who delivers you from the lion's den, but a God who shuts the mouths of the lions while you are still inside. You have stopped asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and started asking, "What are you building in me?" This shift in your perspective is the key that unlocks the treasures of 2026. Because you can now handle the rain without drowning, I can trust you with the floods of blessing that are coming. You are no longer a child tossed to and fro by every wave. You are becoming a pillar in my kingdom. The scars you carry are not signs of weakness. They are your credentials of victory. They prove that the enemy sent his best shot, and it wasn't enough to take you out. You are far more resilient than you give yourself credit for, and I am so proud of the way you have held on to your faith, even when it was just a tiny flickering flame in the dark. My child, let me speak to the specific frustration that has been burning in your chest like a bitter fire. I want you to imagine a traveler who has walked for miles across a scorching desert. His throat is parched, his feet are blistered, and his strength is almost gone. Finally, he sees the gates of the city in the distance. He can see the green trees, he can almost hear the sound of running water. But just as he takes those final steps, a sudden violent sandstorm rises out of nowhere, blinding his vision and knocking him to his knees. This is exactly how you have felt lately. I saw you when you finally managed to save that small cushion of money, only for an unexpected medical bill or a car breakdown to snatch it all away in a single afternoon. I saw you working late, putting in the extra effort to secure that promotion or that contract, only to have the rules changed at the very last second by someone who didn't even know your name. You were so close to the finish line, so close to breathing a sigh of relief, and then the bottom seemed to drop out. In those moments, I heard the cry of your heart. Why now, Lord, why, when I was finally doing everything right? Why did you let the storm break, just as I was about to find rest? You felt as though I had led you all this way, just to let you fail at the threshold of your blessing. You began to wonder if you were being punished, or worse, if I had simply stopped paying attention. But I want you to look deeper. Why would the enemy waste his greatest storm on someone who wasn't close to a breakthrough? Why would the shadows fight so hard to stop a traveler who was still miles away from the gate? The intensity of the opposition you are facing is the greatest proof of how close you are to your destination. The sandstorm didn't come because you were lost. It came because you were arrived. Being near the finish line does not mean you are in a zone of safety. It often means you are in the zone of the greatest conflict. For the darkness knows that once you cross that line into 2026, you will be beyond its reach forever. I want you to understand that while the adversity was real, it was never meant to be your end. It was a test of your focus. Would you look at the sand, or would you remember the city you just saw? I am the God who provides even in the midst of the crash. When that car failed, when that bank account dropped, when that natural disaster shook your world, did I not provide a way for you to keep going? It may not have been the way you planned, and it certainly wasn't comfortable, but you are still standing. I use that moment to show you that your security does not come from your savings, your job, or your vehicle. Your security comes from my hand. I allowed the visible to shake so that you would learn to lean on the invisible. Never mistake a temporary setback for a permanent defeat. If you are still breathing, I am still working. No storm is too big for the faith I have placed inside you. You are not just surviving this finish line. You are being tempered like steel so that you can walk into your new season with a strength that cannot be broken by any earthly circumstance. You look at your life and see a tangled mess of broken threads, sharp knots, and colors that do not seem to match. To your human eyes, it looks like a disaster, a series of unfortunate events that have left you confused, weary, and questioning my plan. But I am the master weaver, and what you are looking at right now is merely the backside of the tapestry. On the side, you see there are messy overlaps and loose ends that make no sense. You see the visible problems, the unpaid bills, the strained relationships, and the health scares that keep you awake at night. But I see the hidden purposes. From my perspective on the front of the tapestry, I am weaving a masterpiece of unimaginable beauty and intricate detail. Every knot you see is a structural necessity for the glory that is to come. Every dark thread of sorrow is providing the essential contrast needed to make the gold threads of my favor shine even brighter. You cannot judge the quality of the work while it is still on the loom, and you certainly cannot judge the weaver by looking at the underside of the design. Many around you, and even the whispers in your own mind, try to convince you that this season of hardship is a punishment. They tell you that you must have done something wrong, that I am angry with you, or that I have turned my face away in disgust. But I tell you today, do not confuse divine alignment with divine punishment. When a doctor resets a broken bone, it causes sharp pain. But it is not because the doctor wants to hurt the patient. It is because the bone must be perfectly aligned so that it can heal properly and support weight again. I am currently resetting the foundations of your life. I am moving things, removing people, and shifting your priorities not to hurt you, but to align you with the massive outpouring of 2026. If I let you stay as you were, the weight of the coming blessing would crush you. I am strengthening your character and your spirit, because the much I have promised requires a much deeper root system than you currently possess. Believe me when I say that the invisible work I am doing right now is far more important than the visible problems you are crying over. While you are praying for the problem to go away, I am using the problem to make the old you go away, so that the new you, the one who can reign in 2026, can finally emerge. I am filtering your heart, removing the impurities of pride, self-reliance, and fear. This process is uncomfortable, yes, but it is holy. You are in my workshop, not my courtroom. You are my project, not my problem. Every delay is a divine shielding, and every no you have heard is actually a not this way. For I have something better. If you believe I am breaking your chains right now through this alignment, do not stay silent. Type breakthrough is mine to claim it and signal to the heavens that you are ready for the shift. My beloved, I want you to take a deep breath and listen to these words until they resonate in every cell of your being. I do not mismanage your life. I am the architect of the stars and the weaver of time. Do you truly believe I would be careless with the one I love so much that I gave everything for? I know the world feels chaotic. I know it looks like the pieces of your life have been scattered by a violent wind. But I want you to say it out loud, even if it's just a whisper. God does not mismanage my life. My hand has never once trembled while holding the steering wheel of your destiny. Even when the road is dark and the curves are sharp, I am driving with a precision that far exceeds your human understanding. You may feel like you are lost in a wilderness, but I see the entire map. I see the beginning from the end. And I promise you, I have never once missed a turn or arrived late to a moment of your need. Think about your career and your finances. You worry about the doors that slammed shut and the opportunities that seem to slip through your fingers. But I tell you, I do not mismanage your provision. If I allowed a source of income to dry up, it is because I am preparing a fountain that you do not yet see. Think about your heart and the people who walked away. I do not mismanage your relationships. I removed those who were meant for a season so that I could make room for those who are meant for your destiny in 2026. Think about your health and the fatigue you carry. I do not mismanage your strength. Even in your weakness, my power is being perfected, and I am rebuilding you from the ground up. I am not a God of accidents. I am a God of appointments. Every delay you have faced has been a divine setup for a greater display of my glory. If you believe I am leading you with such divine precision, press the like button now to affirm your faith and agreement with my plan. Subscribe to this sanctuary to stay anchored in my word. For I am about to show you things you have never seen before, and you will need this daily strength to walk through the gates I am opening. By subscribing, you are telling the heavens that you are ready to be a permanent part of this spiritual shift, leaving the chaos of the world behind to follow the steady rhythm of my heart. I am not experimenting with your future. I am not trying to make things work. I am making all things work together for your good. When you commit your ways to me, I light your path and give purpose to every single step, even the ones that feel like you're stepping into a void. Trust my timing. If it hasn't happened yet, it's because the right time is still approaching, and I refuse to give you a blessing that you aren't ready to carry. You don't fall apart, you fall into purpose. You don't get lost, you get aligned. Rest in the certainty that the God who counts the hairs on your head is managing every detail of your 2026 with a love that will never fail. My child, I felt the sharp sting in your heart when it came from the hands you trusted. I was there when you were blindsided, when the tone of a conversation changed, when a familiar smile carried hidden intent, when you realized someone you called friend, partner, or ally had been quietly positioning themselves against you. I heard the whispers that followed you into rooms you never entered. I saw the messages that were sent about you when you were not there to defend yourself. I watched the way your name was treated like a rumor, your character like a negotiation, your efforts like something people could take credit for and walk away. And I saw the moment you tried to make sense of it, how your mind replayed every scene, searching for the sentence you said wrong, and the choice you made that caused this, the flaw in you that invited their cruelty. You wondered if your loyalty made you naive, if your kindness made you weak, if your faith made you easy to use. You looked at the promotion handed to someone less faithful, the project you carried on your back that was shut down. Without explanation, the door you were sure would open only to hear it slam with a force that shook your confidence. You stood in the cold of that rejection and asked me why I allowed it. Listen to me. I did not abandon you in that moment. I was closer than your breath. And I am telling you the truth. With tenderness, some doors did not close because you were unworthy. Some doors closed because I love you enough to keep you alive. I want you to picture yourself outside a magnificent building, convinced it holds your future. You are pounding on the doors, asking, pleading, reasoning, offering to be better because you believe entry is everything. But you cannot see what I see. Inside, the structure is compromised. The foundation is rotten. The air is toxic. The people within are rehearsing betrayal like a habit. The room you are begging to enter would have trained you to survive by shrinking, by pretending, by losing your peace, one compromise at a time. If I had opened that door, you would have walked into a fire you did not smell yet. You saw a missed opportunity. I saw rescue. You saw rejection. I saw protection. You heard the slam and thought failure. I heard the slam and called it mercy. That sound was not heaven pushing you away. It was my hand locking a gate that would have become a prison. And yes, betrayal hurts because it touches the deepest place in you, the place that wants to be chosen, respected, and safe. Betrayal feels personal because it is personal. But hear me, the enemy did not invent betrayal. He only tries to use it. I redeem it. I sift through it. I turn it into wisdom that does not harden your heart, but strengthens your discernment. Some people were close enough to wound you because you had a future worth targeting. Some doors slammed because you were about to settle for a smaller story than the one I wrote for you. Understand, this betrayal is often the filter I allow when you are nearing transition. Not because I enjoy your pain, but because I refuse to let the next season be contaminated by the wrong hands. As you step toward what I am doing in 2026, you cannot carry the weight of people who are not assigned to your destiny. You cannot keep giving access to those who treat your loyalty like leverage. I allowed certain hearts to reveal themselves now, so they would not be standing beside you when I release what requires purity, stability, and honor. Some people wanted proximity to your gift, not covenant with your calling. Some wanted your results, not your well-being. I let them leave because I will not let you confuse attachment with assignment. Do not confuse the loss of them with the loss of you. You are not being abandoned. You are being unburdened. The empty space they left is not a wound meant to stay open. It is room I am making for what is real. I am preparing divine connections that do not compete with you, that do not secretly resent you, that do not smile while they sabotage. I am sending people who can celebrate you without needing to reduce you. People who can correct you with love, cover you with prayer, and stand with you when the room goes quiet. I am removing counterfeit closeness so you can recognize true covenant when it arrives. And I know what you fear. What if they were my only door? What if I never get that chance again? My child, I am not limited to human doors. I build paths in wilderness. I bring water out of rock. I open doors no person can close, and I close doors no person should force open. Your future is not trapped in their opinion, their approval, or their ability to cooperate. Your future is held in my hands. I am your defender. I am your vindicator. I am the one who sees what was done in secret and rewards what was carried in silence. So do not waste another tear trying to earn access to what I shut. Do not bow your spirit to win back people who proved they were not safe. Release them without hatred. Bless them without returning. Forgive them without re-entering the same cage. Your forgiveness is not permission for them to repeat the wound. It is freedom for your heart to heal without chains. I am preparing a table for you even where you once felt surrounded. I am turning your mourning into strength and your shame into honor, not for your pride, but for my glory. The story does not end at the slammed door. It begins at the moment you finally turn around and see that I have been standing beside you the whole time, holding your hand, leading you to a better entrance. Rest now. Let me carry what you could not fix. Let me close what you were trying to reopen. And let me guide you into the place where your peace will not be negotiable. My precious child, you are standing at the edge of a transition, and your natural eyes keep scanning the ground for proof. You see scars. You see debris. You see what did not work out, what fell apart, what you lost. But I see something else. I see a blueprint being revealed. I see the architecture of a kingdom forming in places you called ruins. I see a map being drawn under your feet while you are still trying to understand why the path had to hurt. You have asked me why the wounds of the last season were so deep, why the pressure felt targeted, why the cuts seemed to come one after another, so personal, so persistent. Listen carefully. Those cuts were not meant to drain your life. They were meant to expand your capacity. Think of the soil it must be opened by the plow before it can receive the seed. Think of the grape it must be pressed before it can become new wine. Think of the stone it must be shaped before it can fit in the place it was designed to hold. What you called damage, I call preparation. What you called an ending, I call an opening. The pain of the incision is temporary, but the space it creates becomes a doorway for what I am bringing. You were not being destroyed. You were being opened so my strength could enter where your pride once held the door shut, so my wisdom could enter where your emotions once drove the wheel, so my peace could enter where fear kept pacing in circles. Some things had to crack because they were containing you. Some shells had to break because you were outgrowing them. You could not carry the next season in the old shape. So I made room tenderly, deliberately, faithfully. And while you are sleeping, while you are worrying, while you are staring at numbers that do not add up, or a room that feels too quiet, I am working beyond what you can track. I am arranging details you cannot orchestrate. I am preparing timing you cannot force. I am touching hearts you have never met. I am moving pieces that looked immovable when you last tried. The map is being established not by your panic, but by my providence. There are doors you have not approached yet that are already being prepared with favor. There are conversations you are not in that I am already steering. There are policies shifting, decisions forming, and opportunities being positioned in ways you will later recognize and say, only God could have done that. I am not improvising with your life. I am not reacting. I am leading. I am laying steps in places you thought were blank. I am building roots where you only saw walls. And yes, my angels are real. I do assign them. I do send help ahead of you. Not as a superstition, not as a fantasy, but as part of my care for you. They guard, they protect, they restrain what you would have walked into without knowing. They are not a replacement for wisdom, but they are proof that heaven takes your journey seriously. You see a dead end. I see a detour that keeps you from disaster. You see a delay. I see timing that preserves your peace. You see a wall. I see a foundation. Now hear this. What is coming is not merely a return to what you lost. I am not simply giving you your old life back with a new coat of paint. I am maturing you. I am expanding you. I am upgrading your inner world so your outer world does not crush you. You have been faithful in small things, faithful when nobody clapped, faithful when the results were slow, faithful when obedience cost you. You fought battles in secret that no one will ever fully understand. You carried weight that did not match your visible resources. And I saw you. I recorded it. I honored it. So as you step toward what I am unfolding in 2026, do not measure your future by your current evidence. Do not decide you are behind because it has been quiet. Silence is not absence. Hidden is not denied. There are seasons when I am not speaking loudly because I am building deeply. There are seasons when I do not show you the whole map because you would try to run ahead and step outside of grace. I reveal in portions because I love you and because I am teaching you to walk by trust, not by control. If these words are bearing witness in your spirit, if something in you is rising with quiet courage, do not let it pass as a moment. Respond in faith. Type I believe or 777. In the comments, not as a ritual, but as a simple agreement. Lord, I will follow even before I see. This is your alignment. This is your yes. And I will guide you step by step on a map you did not draw into a season you could not have forced toward a fullness you will recognize as my hand. My beloved child, come closer and listen with the ears of your spirit. Within the center of your being, there is a sanctuary. I designed an inner chamber where my peace settles, where your creativity is refined, and where our communion stays alive, even when the world is loud. It was meant to be a mansion of light. But as I walk with you through the halls of your heart, I see what you have been carrying in uninvited, unchecked, and unhealed. Emotional waste has been stacking like debris against the gates, not because you are wicked, but because you have been surviving. You learned to keep moving with pain still in your hands, and you called it strength. But I am not asking you to merely endure. I am calling you to be restored. You have been carrying the bitterness of 2025 and the bruises of years before. It like a jagged sack of stones strapped to your back. That is why your mind feels crowded. That is why your sleep is shallow even when your body is exhausted. That is why you can sit in a quiet room and still feel noise inside. There is a weariness that physical rest cannot cure, because it is not only in your muscles, it is in your memory. And you cannot walk into the wide, clean chambers of 2026 while your hands are white-knuckled around yesterday's trash. You cannot receive what is new while you are still hugging what was toxic. Hear me clearly, guilt for what I have already forgiven. You shame that makes you hide from my face, and the constant replay of every mistake you have ever made. These are squatters. They are not tenants I approved. They are not voices I assigned. They are occupying space in a house I built for my glory. And what makes them so dangerous is not only how they hurt you, but how they crowd out what I am trying to place within you. There are strategies I want to give you. There is peace I want to establish in you. There is strength I want to pour into you. But you cannot hold living water in a vessel filled with rot. You must realize something holy and practical. Your emotional and spiritual capacity is not endless. You have a limited container each day. If resentment sits on the throne of your thoughts, there will be no room left for courage. If fear is speaking all day, there will be no quiet place for my voice to rest. If you keep rehearsing the betrayal, you will keep reopening the wound. And the enemy loves this, because he does not need to destroy you if he can simply keep you cluttered. He can keep you busy remembering, busy replaying, busy explaining yourself to ghosts until you forget how to live. So I am asking you to empty the vessel. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel like it. Today. Do not wait for the feeling of forgiveness. Choose the act of release. Forgiveness is not pretending it did not hurt. Forgiveness is refusing to let what happened keep owning your inner world. Forgiveness is eviction. It is you saying, this pain is not allowed to live here anymore. You do not have to invite the person back in to forgive them. You simply stop allowing the memory to keep charging rent. And hear this secret, your memory is not only a library of the past. It becomes the steering wheel of your destiny. Whatever you rehearse, you reinforce. Whatever you replay, you rebuild. If you keep driving with your eyes locked in the rearview mirror, obsessing over the wreckage, the failures, the delays, the doors that shut you, will drift back into the same patterns of pain. You cannot drive forward while staring backward. You cannot step into a new season while your mind keeps living in the old one. Your words are seeds, yes, but your memories are the soil those seeds grow in. If the soil is contaminated by shame, bitterness, and despair, even good seeds struggle to bear fruit. This is why your small statements matter. Every time you whisper, I guess this is just my luck, you are planting a story of defeat. Every time you say, I'm so tired of struggling as a final verdict, instead of a passing feeling, you water weeds that choke your confidence. You are not condemned for being tired, but I am teaching you not to crown tiredness as truth. So I am calling you into a discipline that is not silence for appearance, but silence for power, the discipline of holy restraint. There are moments you must refuse to speak what you feel, because your feelings are not always faithful narrators. There are moments you must stop feeding the ache with words that keep it alive. Not because you are denying reality, but because you are choosing what rules your reality. When the urge rises to complain, to relive, to rehearse the trauma again, pause, breathe, and let me have the microphone. Let me have. Then use your memory the way heaven intended, not as a weapon against yourself, but as a weapon against despair. Remember my faithfulness. Remember how I carried you through what should have broken you. Remember the time you had less than you needed, and I still made a way. Remember the breath I just placed in your lungs. Remember that you are still here, and that means the enemy did not win. If you are alive, you are not disqualified. If you are still standing, you are still in my hands. Now listen, I am not calling you to become a perfect thinker. I am calling you to become a guarded thinker, a wise gatekeeper, a man who does not let every stray thought move in and redecorate his mind. Your mind is a garden, and gardens do not stay clean by accident. They stay clean by cultivation. Pull the weeds early. Do not negotiate with bitterness. Do not entertain shame. Do not host fear as a permanent guest. Bring every thought to me. And And when it does not sound like me, when it does not carry my nature, my truth, my hope, do not let it take root. I am training you to master your inner world because what I am bringing is weighty. It requires stability. It requires focus. It requires a heart that is not crowded with old clutter. The blessings ahead are not meant to crush you. They are meant to expand you. But expansion requires space, and space requires clearing. So drop the stones, my child. Let me take what you were never meant to carry. Let me cleanse the rooms you have kept locked. Let me replace the stench of yesterday with the breath of my spirit. The mansion is still yours. The light is still yours. The peace is still yours. And if you are ready to release what has been poisoning your thoughts, signal your agreement now. My beloved, come with me to the road of Damascus, not as a distant Bible story, but as a mirror of how I intervene when a life is moving in the wrong direction with full confidence. Saul was not wandering in confusion. He was moving with purpose. He had papers in his hands and certainty in his chest. He believed he was serving what was right, yet his fire was misplaced, and his steps were aimed straight at my people. He was headstrong, breathing threats, convinced that intensity equals truth. But I saw him. I saw the wounds behind his zeal. I saw the fear that hid under his control. I saw the pride that was masquerading as conviction. And I did not wait for Saul to figure it out. I did not ask him politely to consider a new path. I invaded his world because love does not always whisper. Sometimes love interrupts. In a single blinding moment, I shattered the illusion of his direction. A light brighter than the sun wrapped around him like a verdict. And the man who thought he was leading was suddenly on the ground, helpless, exposed, and forced to face the one he had been resisting. And in that very collapse, something holy began. Do you hear me? Sometimes the fall is not the enemy winning. Sometimes the fall is me saving you from a cliff you did not perceive. Saul's strength did not protect him. His arguments did not shield him. His reputation did not buy him control. My presence came, and his certainty broke, so his calling could be born. This is the power of my turn of grace. I do not need a long runway to change a life. I do not need perfect conditions. I do not need permission from your past. I can take the most stubborn heart and redirect it in a single encounter. I can take a path of destruction and pivot it into a road that carries healing truth and purpose. I can turn a persecutor into a preacher. I can turn a man who is spreading fear into a man who carries freedom. That is what grace does. It does not only forgive, it reassigns. And I know why you needed to hear this. Because part of you fears you've gone too far. You look back at your mistakes and wonder if you have locked yourself into a future you cannot escape. You replay the seasons where you chose pride over obedience, comfort over discipline, anger over surrender, silence over truth. You think, if I had turned earlier, I'd be further by now. My child, listen to me. Your timeline does not scare me. Your failures do not outsmart me. Your detours do not cancel my ability to redirect you. You are not out of my reach, not in your worst choice, not in your most ashamed memory, not in your most complicated mess. And maybe it is not only about you. Maybe your heart is heavy because you are watching someone you love drift, your child, your spouse, your friend. You've tried conversations. You've tried advice. You've tried tears behind closed doors. You've asked, Lord, why won't they listen? Why can't they hear me clearly? No one is beyond my reach. I intercepted Saul on his way to cause harm, and I can intercept the one you love on their road to ruin. My grace is not a polite suggestion. It is a divine force. I can stop a man mid-sentence. I can disrupt a habit that looked unbreakable. I can break chains that no therapy, no argument, no human persuasion could loosen. I can do what you cannot do without crushing them, without losing them, without destroying what I intend to redeem. Now listen closely to the part people often rush past. After the light, there was darkness. After the encounter, there was a pause. Saul, now Paul, was blind for 3 days, not as punishment, but as mercy. I shut his physical eyes so his spiritual sight could awaken. I silenced the noise of his old life so he could hear the whisper of his new calling. I separated him from his momentum so I could rebuild his identity. He had to learn that his future was not powered by his force, but formed by my voice. So, if you are in a season right now where you feel like you cannot see clearly, where your plans feel foggy, where your confidence has been stripped, where you are in the dark emotionally or spiritually, do not assume I have abandoned you. Sometimes I darken what you trusted, so you stop trusting the wrong thing. Sometimes I remove the familiar, so you stop worshiping familiarity. Sometimes I pause your movement, so you stop calling speed progress. That darkness is not your end. It is my reset. It is a sacred interruption that protects your destiny. And I want you to stop fearing the word sudden. I am the God of the sudden turnaround. I can bring a phone call, a conversation, a conviction, a holy discomfort, a moment of truth that shifts everything. But hear me, the deepest miracle is not the turnaround itself. It is the surrender that follows. Because I do not only want to change your situation, I want to change your foundation. That is why I am asking you for one thing that opens every door, your yes. Not a loud yes for people to applaud. A quiet yes in the private room. A yes that says, Holy Spirit, you are in charge. That posture is not weakness. It is the highest strength you can ever carry. When you yield, you are not losing control. You are leaving the illusion of control and stepping into my covering. Trust me even when the process feels uncomfortable. Trust me even when you do not understand the pause. Trust me even when you cannot yet see how I will rewrite what seems ruined. I am redeeming your past and I am securing your future by the same hand that touched Paul on that dusty road. And the person you think is too far is not too far. The one you fear is gone is not gone. I am still the God who interrupts, redirects, restores, and turns disgrace into assignment. My precious child, I know the weight of the word wait. I have heard the silent counting of days in your chest. I have felt the way time seems louder when you are tired, how the clock becomes an accuser, how the calendar feels like proof that you are behind. You watch others move ahead while you feel frozen as if life is passing you by. You look at the promises I placed in your spirit, and then you look at your reality, and the space between them feels like a canyon. You have prayed. How long, Lord, not as rebellion, but as a wounded question. Did you forget? Did you change your mind? Did I miss my moment? Listen to me. I do not live inside your minutes and months. I am the God of the appointed time. I am never late, but I am rarely early according to human impatience. And I need you to understand why, because I am not only trying to give you a blessing, I am making you ready to carry it. A premature blessing can become a burden. An open door too early can become a trap. A platform without character becomes a collapse. Increase without wisdom becomes pressure you cannot survive. And I love you too much to hand you something heavy before your shoulders are strengthened. Sometimes what you call delay is my protection from becoming successful in a way that destroys your peace. Think of the seed buried in cold, dark soil. From the outside, it looks like nothing is happening, like failure, like loss, like a quiet funeral in the dirt. But under the surface, where no human eye can see, a violent transformation is taking place. The shell breaks. The roots stretch. The life inside begins to reorganize. The seed is not dying, it is changing form. It is becoming something it could never become in the open air. If you pull it out too early because you are afraid it is taking too long, it will wither. The darkness is not a prison. It is a womb. And this is what I want you to stop calling absence. The hidden place is not the place I forgot you. It is often the place I am closest. The quiet is not proof I am ignoring you. Sometimes it is proof I am working deeper than your noise can measure. I am arranging what you cannot arrange. I am untangling what you cannot untangle. I am aligning people, timing, resources, and readiness in ways you will only understand later. There are things I have delayed, not because I refuse you, but because I refuse harm. If I had opened that door when you begged me to, you would have walked in with the wrong identity, still trying to prove yourself, still hungry for applause, still vulnerable to manipulation. If I had given you that financial increase before you learned to trust me in lack, it could have ruled your heart. If I had given you influence before you learned to forgive, you would have used power to protect your wounds instead of my purpose. I am not punishing you. I am preparing you. Real blessings are weighty. They require strong shoulders, a humble heart, clean motives, and a spirit trained in patience. So I am building a root system in you that can withstand the storms of success. I am teaching you how to stay steady when you finally have what you used to beg for, because I am not only interested in getting you there, I am interested in keeping you whole when you arrive. You must understand this. The waiting room is a construction site, not a graveyard. Every day you choose trust over despair, you are passing the discouragement test. Every time you keep your integrity while nothing seems to change, you are gaining authority. Every time you worship without visible results, your spirit becomes unshakable. You are growing stronger than you think. You are becoming the kind of person who can walk into 2026, not as a beggar chasing crumbs, but as a steward who knows who you are in me. And hear me clearly, because your mind will try to twist this. Not yet is not never. Delay is not denial. Silence is not rejection. I have not changed my mind about you. I have not forgotten what I spoke. My yes has not expired. The vision is for an appointed time, and I will not release it 1 second late, and I will not release it 1 second early. I will release it at the moment it becomes a gift instead of a burden, a blessing instead of a trap, a door you can walk through without losing your soul. So breathe, my beloved. Stop punishing yourself for what is unfolding slowly. Stop calling yourself behind when I am building you from the inside. Let endurance do its work. Let patience deepen your roots. Let faith become muscle, not mood. I have carried you before, and I am not about to drop you now. Even if it looks like the opportunity has passed, I can resurrect what you thought was dead. I can breathe life into dry bones. I can restore years you believed were wasted. Hold on. The dawn is closer than you feel, and what I am preparing in you will be the very thing that sustains what I am about to place around you. My beloved chosen one, as we reach the culmination of this divine encounter, I want you to take a moment to realize the magnitude of what has just occurred within your spirit. The person who began listening to these words was a seeker, perhaps a victim of circumstances burdened by the heavy residue of a difficult past. But as my voice has washed over you, a transformation has taken place in the unseen realms. I declare over you today that you are no longer a victim of your history. You are a co-creator of your future, I have placed my word within your mouth and my spirit within your heart. You are moving from a state of survival into a state of dominion. 2026 is not coming to happen to you. It is coming to happen through you. You have been trained in the secret place, and now you are ready to manifest the glory I have hidden within your soul. Every tear you shed in the years of testing has been distilled into the fuel for your 2026 breakthrough. You are standing on holy ground, and the ground beneath your feet is already shifting to support your new level of authority. This is the year of the new creation. In 2026, I am bringing divine order to your chaos and celestial light to your darkness. You will witness the total restoration of your health, the revitalization of your long-lost dreams, and a sudden provision that will leave those who doubted you in absolute awe. I am breathing life into the dry bones of your finances and mending the shattered pieces of your relationships. The doors that slammed shut in the past were merely the sound of me clearing the stage for a performance of my grace that the world has never seen. You are the protagonist of this story, and I am the author who has already written the final chapter of your victory. My hand is upon you, and my favor surrounds you like a shield. I have prepared a table for you, and the feast of 2026 is about to begin. You are not entering this year alone. You are entering it clothed in the mantle of my power and the garment of my praise. But listen closely, for there is a mystery I have yet to fully reveal. There is a specific alignment, a divine intersection occurring in June 2026 that will change the trajectory of your lineage forever. It is a moment of profound spiritual shift, an open seal that I can only share with those whose hearts have been fully prepared by the messages I am speaking today. I stand at the very end of 2026, looking back at you with a smile of eternal love, for I have already seen you overcome every obstacle and claim every promise. I am waiting for you there in the fullness of your joy and the peak of your purpose. This is my covenant with you. I will never leave you nor forsake you. The fire has made you fireproof, and the storm has made you a master of the waves. Your time has finally come, and the gates of 2026 are swinging wide to welcome the King's child home. Seal this prophecy now and forever into the fabric of your life. Do not let the enemy steal this seed of hope from your heart. Type, "I believe and receive 2026." right now in the comments to activate this seal and lock these blessings into your reality. By typing these words, you are making a legal decree in the spirit world that you accept my timing and my plan. To ensure you stay connected to this frequency of miracles, and do not miss the revelation of the second seal. Regarding the secret of June 2026, press the like button and subscribe to this sanctuary now. Join this global family of the chosen ones and share this message with 3 people who are currently lost in the dark. As you become a vessel of my light for others, I will ensure that my light never fades from your path. Prepare your heart, for in our next meeting I will open the second seal for you. It is finished. It is done. Amen.